Hello and welcome to the Midnight Squadron Informer podcast. I am Waylon. I'll be your host tonight. Joining me are my wonderful cast, starting off with Oberon.
Hey guys, it's Oberon. I'm one of the senior commanders here at Midnight Squadron and am the CEO also of the Guild Wars 2 division.
And then we have Xander as well. What the?
Don't edit that out.
Someone got gun shy.
So Xander just dropped connection right out of our TeamSpeak channel.
That was awesome.
So, introducing again, Sir Xander.
I can't think of anything clever to say, but whatever.
You stole my line.
And as always, Scion is here with her long list of introduction things.
Hey everybody, it's Scion here, proving once again that girl gamers are not as rare as unicorns.
But good gamer girls are...
Oh, don't you start with me.
I'm just saying, you put it out there, and I'm going to fill it up. And then we have from New York State himself, Zeus.
Hey, this is Zeus. I'm the XO for the Guild Wars Vision, and I am legendary.
Can't come up with a good joke for that, so...
Okay, having a Guild Wars title does not make you legendary.
I would have
It
to
does
agree with
now.
that. In his own mind, maybe.
That's what I was thinking in the old mind. And last but not least, from across the pond, we have Zillan.
From Europe, with a bag of popcorn. Cheese popcorn, mind you.
Does that make a difference?
Yes. Huge.
Yeah, I mean, seriously?
I'm not a popcorn fan.
Cheese.
Well, maybe if you tried cheese popcorn, you'd become one.
I don't know.
What about chocolate popcorn? Have you tried chocolate popcorn?
No. I'm not
That's
a big
pretty-
Is there such a thing?
Oh, yes.
I feel like
Oh my
the
God.
lies just lit. Cheese is not good with Chinese. It's no matter how you work it out, it's just not good.
Cheese wonton.
I don't know.
Oh, you're
Chinese
right,
are
there
eating
are
American.
cheese wontons.
So, it's been a while. We've been busy. Star Wars: The Old Republic launched. Christmas happened. Came back, and then we just been going around like chickens with their heads cut off for the last 2 months. So I apologize about the delay in getting a new episode out. But we're here today, and we got some gaming news to talk about. Scion, you want to start it off with the first topic of gaming news?
Well, Funcom recently announced that they are pushing back the release date of The Secret World. Originally... Yeah, it's not a shocker, guys. Considering there was so little news, it's been very trickling in terms of news in general and release of information for a little while there before the pushback date. Originally, it was slated for April sometime. They didn't give a date. But now the official launch date will be June 19th.
So my favorite thing about this whole story is a week earlier, G4 TV reported that, an MMO website, Massively MMO, I think is what it was, had reported that April 29th would be the launch date for The Secret World. And that seemed like a good day for it. Nothing was coming out. It'd be a good day for a release date, and it would still fall within their April parameters. Funcom, within hours of this story hitting G4 TV's website, went out and put a statement out and said, no, April 29th is not our intended release date. We still intend to release in April. It's just not specified for April 29th. And this is the last Thursday, something like that. So on Monday, here we go. It's June, so they pushed it back 2 months and 3 days. It's crazy.
It's not a big shock, considering their big plan for the Secret War and the Facebook application that was attached to it never launched. They never released any news about it. It seemed to suggest that things were going a little bit awry over there in terms of the game.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention that as well. I was really, before Tor came out, before Guild Wars 2 started getting some traction last summer, when that Facebook deal came out from Funcom, I actually got pretty jazzed about it. I thought they were actually making a really intelligent move, the way that they were building up interest, and then dead silence for all these months. So I really think that they must have gone off the reservation a little bit as far as product and readiness for launch. Otherwise, I don't understand why they would have dropped that whole process.
They never addressed that issue again, which is also sort of disturbing. The fact that they never even brought up the Secret War again. From my understanding, they had some problems with engineers, and they were trying to hire engineers to work on that application, and then all of a sudden it seemed to be a dropped issue completely. After people ran out, friended 500 people that they don't even know to prepare for a game that will never actually happen. To earn a beta key. And I guess at this point, beta selection will just be random, and they will not have that extra little mechanism that awards people through this Secret War Facebook application at all.
I actually thought that the Facebook application, the Secret War, I thought that was a great move on their part, get fun, get interest in the game before it launches by actually playing a part of the game that will link you in, and it has, part of the story and all that stuff. I thought it was a great idea. I don't think we've seen it in MMOs yet. I think that part of the market is, uncornered, and I thought they had a really good shot of making an impact on the market, when it comes to reach and stuff like that. But, they kind of, like you said, they just fell flat, I think. Did Guild Wars have any news here recently?
Any news for Guild Wars? Hold on one second. Let me Google for a minute. Hold on.
I'm sure you're like Sion. You have a list of like 30 different leaks to go onto this thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check some news. Hold on a second.
Okay.
The only thing that I can think of that recently came up with Guild Wars are, I forget how long ago it was, 2 or 3 weeks. There was the Chinese New Year celebration that they do.
Right.
And then last week we had a big activity as a result of faction points being upped.
That's right.
Seriously?
I think that's about it. There was that small event that occurred about a week ago.
Something else.
Yeah, what is that?
ArenaNet will be playing Penny Arcade this Friday in the ping pong tournament, in the ping pong little thing that Penny Arcade has going on.
Okay. Yeah, other than that, I think the only other thing, and it's kind of a minor thing, was that they announced the sign up for beta.
Oh, really? Do tell more.
But there wasn't really any interest in it at all. There was only, I think they said they only had about 1 million people sign up for it in around 48 hours, so not much interest there at all, unfortunately. It does not bode well for the game.
Well, this goes to reinforce my fact that your game's never going to launch.
Yeah, so obviously we've had the sarcasm font turned way up. Huge news. They finally announced that there was going to be a publicly available beta for the Guild Wars 2 community outside of just reporters and really, really internal type folks. And they sent out an email, and they had 1 million people signed up in about 48 hours, which is absolutely phenomenal. And the ArenaNet folks, I think it was down in Austin, even had a party in their offices watching the countdown until they hit 1 million. So, fantastic news for Guild Wars 2. They haven't announced, at least not. I haven't checked news today, but as of yesterday, they hadn't announced when the betas were going to start. But it sounds like they're going to have some weekends coming up, and they're going to be doing different weekend beta events. So, obviously, the Guild Wars 2 community is majorly abuzz. We've seen huge influx in recruits and cadets and people interested in joining us for Guild Wars 2 now that it's approaching. So, very, very exciting time for all of us that have been patiently waiting for Guild Wars 2.
And actually, to follow up with Oberon, that they are actually saying late March for the first beta, or closed beta that we'll actually be able to get into. The other thing that kind of came into this is that they had the press weekend, letting them all get into it last weekend. It caused an influx of tons of videos and everybody talking about it and letting everybody know what it was like. So that kind of led up to the beta announcement as well, getting signed up for it.
Late March, I can handle that.
What was up with the A thing? I don't get it.
I hang out with a lot of people from Canada. It's just starting to rub off on me.
That's what we're having. We're having an influx of Canadians and an influx of Guild Wars 2 players.
Isn't it awesome?
I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's called Kickstarter. And the idea of Kickstarter is to go out there and put your project up there and to get interest financially for your project. So the newest one, and the one that's been making news all around the gaming industry, is the Tim Schafer Double Fine Studios Kickstarter. He the idea is for Tim Schafer, who is the creator of Psychonauts and other games that have gone back, over time. Great games with great story and great dialogue and great features as well. His latest ones, Brutal Legend, were critically acclaimed but never really caught on in the mass market. But his number one request is to go back and make an old style point and click adventure game from the good olden days. The only problem is it's really hard to sell publishers on an old style point and click adventure game. So they had this brilliant idea to start a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter was originally mounted for $400,000 to make this project happen. $300,000 for the production and implementation of the game, and then $100,000 would go to Two Player Productions, which are the people who did the Minecraft documentary. They did they started the first season of Penny Arcade Television. These are guys who are just hopping around different venues in the gaming industry, documenting it. And so the plan was to, make a video game side by side with a documentary. And you would get special perks if you donated to it. So the original goal was $400,000. And Tim kind of let on that was kind of a lofty goal for him to see if they could get backers. It's not that lofty. Within 8 hours, he hit $1 million. And when I donated, a week after it started, it was over $2 million. So his budget went from $400,000 to pretty much 2.8, I think, right it is now?
2.2. Almost 2.3.
Okay, so I was completely wrong. But still, that is still way more than the original budget of $400,000. With this, they've been able to add, they were only going to do like a Steam release. Now they're going to be able to do iPad and mobile devices on Android and Steam and all kinds of stuff. And they're even talking about maybe even going to console releases as well. So it's really cool that, maybe you have that certain game that you want to get funded for, your whatever kind of game you want to do. You maybe can't pitch it to a publisher that maybe they really don't see the financial stability in it. But Kickstarter, the people have spoken, and they really want Tim Schafer to make a point-and-click adventure game. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, it's definitely an interesting way to go about it. I mean, it's easy to say that, it's easy for Tim Schafer to stand back and be amazed that he made, what was $2.3 million on this. But at the same time, his name means something. If I go out there, people aren't gonna recognize my name. How do I know that they're gonna back me in the same way?
No, I mean, it's not going to happen for everybody. I mean, Tim Schafer is he's with the Cliff Bleszinskis and, guys like that in the video game industry where he's a well-known producer for games. And so it's not going to happen for everybody, but the Kickstarter project itself, the website, it allows people to try to get that kind of interest in their games. So I think it's just a great crowdfunding project to get, interest in a game and to be, and when you do donate, you're called a backer. And so when you donate to a project, you're kind of like an investor. So it kind of gives you a little pat in the back to where you're doing something right. What have you been up to lately, Scion?
I have been playing a Facebook game called Weetopia.
Let's be honest, all right? Plain kind of an understatement. You've been pretty much living this game for the last 2 months, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Weetopia is a game, the first game launched by a startup company called Sojo Studios, which was listed as one of the 20 best startups of 2011 by Business Insider. Basically, Sojo Studios is a software company that's hoping to create games, social media games, that have a real-world impact. So by playing these games, or their first game, 50% of their profit will be donated to various charities for children.
That is awesome.
It is awesome, and let's be honest, their game is not groundbreaking. It's pretty much a Farmville ripoff, maybe a little better, but the good part is that, you know, Farmville just takes your money and all you get is regret for playing the game. This, you get a good, warm, fuzzy feeling at the bottom of your soul because you're helping kids and people all around the United States. They have food shelters they donate to the United States. They have shelters in Haiti and Africa that they're working on.
Right now in the United States, they're working towards funding health care for homeless children. There's a rural activity program as well in the United States, a literacy program. Also, the latest project that got added was for the Whitney School Food Pantry. I don't know if you've heard of the Whitney School, but it's a school with 85% of the children attending that school are homeless or below the poverty line. And the principal of this school was providing food to these children to encourage them to come to school. So she ran a food pantry for the families of these children. So now she doesn't have to pay out of her own pocket. Folks who play Watopia, 50% of the profits generated by advertisers as well as their corporate sponsors, and the players who actually make purchases in the game, 50% of those profits will go to various charities. And when you play, you can choose the project that you would like your gameplay to be donated towards.
It would have been okay if, for example, it would have been it would have been made by a non-profit association. You know, play this game. It's the same as Farmville, and 100% of what you spend goes to charity.
I totally disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think if the public's reaction to a company that's in business for profit, if the reaction is going to be that if you have an angle that we're going to donate a substantial portion of our profits to charity, and that's going to be taken negatively, all you're doing is dissuading other companies from trying to give back to their communities. And being in business myself and being in the management of a fairly large company, I think it's absolutely fabulous when a company decides to take an angle where they're going to give back to the community. I think it's being a good corporate citizen. It's definitely voluntary. I don't think anybody should be compelled to do it, but I think it's just common sense. And I think that's the same for individuals, but it's up to them.
Well, I can say that after Sojo launched, and when Watopia launched, Zynga then began to offer various avenues of charity through their existing games. And I'm not sure if Zynga would have been compelled to do so if not for the fact that Watopia launched. So I believe it's having a good impact, where even, a profit-mongering software company realizes that a share of their players are moving on because their time can be better spent.
Speaking of other games that are coming out, it's not out yet really, but it's coming out pretty soon, and they got a demo out for it right now. Is it Mass Effect 3? Xander, you played it. What are your thoughts on the third iteration? This is technically this is wrapping up the trilogy, right? This is the last game in the trilogy. I'm not saying it's the last game in the Mass Effect universe, just the last one in the trilogy.
Yeah, it's the last one in the trilogy. It wraps up the story of Commander Shepard. The story part of the demo, it's you have one mission and basically the intro to the game. If you played Mass Effect 2, well, if you played any shooter, the combat's going to feel real familiar, real simple, real nice. But the thing that Mass Effect has going for it is the story. So, if you've been playing up to this point, you get the idea. But the series of games follows Commander Shepard, your generic hero, as he goes out and saves the universe from, a race of genocidal machines. And so, this, like I said, this is wrapping it up, and BioWare's putting a lot into this. There's been some controversy with it, with some DLC, and there was some initial controversy over a multiplayer section that I noticed building up, but after playing that in the demo, it's brilliant. It's a co-op setup. I can't tell you how many matches I've played, but I really, really like it. And, it's something I'm really looking forward to, and, I expect it to the story nice and neat, and, hopefully we'll see more based in this universe, because I firmly believe that the universe is too fleshed out to just wrap up with the third game and, push it off to the side.
So Scion, of course, checked it out, March 6th for North America, and the 9th for EU. Zillion, you got anything interesting going on with you?
Yeah, I'm eating popcorn.
Is it chocolate popcorn?
No, I can't get that.
Really?
I found chocolate popcorn on eBay, but it's like $15 for 3 bags and about $50 to bring it over here.
So I'll let everybody sign off. Like I said, if you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, or anything about the podcast, send them to waylon@midnightsquadron.com. I'm always interested to hear your feedback. We don't get a lot of feedback, but I promise I will read it and I'll reply to everything I get.
Hey, Waylon. We have an MSI email address.
Yeah, but I like to pimp my name out there a lot. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just as long as you're willing to admit it.
I got a big ego and it needs a lot of stroking.
Oh my!
I regret the word stroking now.
Yeah.
All right, Oberon, why don't you say goodbye?
All right, guys. I'll see you guys on Ilum if you want to join us in Tor, and soon we'll see you in Tyria.
Peace out.
This is Scion signing off. Play Watopia, play for good.
See you next time. Well, and even until next time in Battlefield, APB, and a lot of other games. And don't forget to write about what you want to hear in the podcast.
And this is Zeus. I am still legendary.
Legendarily quiet.
It is good. I am Waylon, and I hope next time that Zillion actually gets some cheap chocolate popcorn. And until then, we're signing off.